listening to Secret Spool. I'm Sylvia. Tonight, we walk the edge between curiosity and regret. The places people whisper about after midnight. Lean in. Let me tell you a story. It began like a dare, only quieter. Not the kind of dare shouted across a crowded party, but the kind whispered in a car at 2 a.m. when everyone is awake but no one is thinking clearly. 6 friends, a moonless road, and an old leprosarium perched on a hill, its windows blind, its history hushed. The leprosarium had been abandoned for decades. Once, it had housed the sick, people cast out, left to live their days on the edges of town. Time had turned it into something else, a monument to silence. The church on the hilltop, the dormitories with collapsing roofs, the rusted gates that still stood as if they had a job to do. That night, the group arrived at about 2:30 in the morning, not to cause trouble, but because night has a way of turning the ordinary into something cinematic. The air was cool, the kind of cool that pricks your skin. The path wound beside the buildings, framed by weeds and broken stone. The wind pressed through hollow rooms, carrying faint echoes like whispers in another language. And yet, at first, it felt calm. They walked quietly, no nervous laughter, no screaming to prove bravery. Just 6 people walking side by side, flashlights sweeping over cracked walls. At the top of the hill stood the church. They paused there for 5 minutes, staring at its shape against the sky. Some churches give comfort, even in ruins. This one gave nothing, only a reminder of how far from home they already were. Then they turned back. From bottom to top, the hill stretched about 1 kilometer. That distance was their shield. For the first time, it felt harmless. Back at the car, they lingered 20, maybe 30 minutes. The talk was light, jokes about how anticlimactic it had been. Then the pull came. Curiosity is patient, but it never leaves. 4 decided to go back. This second trip, around 3:30, felt different. They didn't reach the top this time, only halfway. That's when they saw the cats, stray cats, padding silently along the cracked road. 1, then 2, then several, glowing faintly under the beam of flashlights. Cats hadn't been there the first time, yet now they owned the path, calm, unbothered, almost too at ease. Halfway along, the first sound came, something falling inside the building. A hollow thud followed by scattering debris. Everyone froze. Was it just the wind, or was someone inside? No one said it aloud. They turned back, walking calmly. Not running, not rushing, but with every muscle stiff. 2 were too tired to continue after that. They asked to be taken home, and 1 volunteered to take them. The road was quiet, but his mind was loud. 10, maybe 20 minutes later, he returned, and the story wasn't over. Now there were 4. Each carried a different stance toward the night. 1, openly afraid, hands shaking, but unwilling to be left behind. 1, a firm skeptic, dismissing every shadow as coincidence. And 2, balancing between doubt and possibility, curious enough to see what the night might offer. At 4:10, they entered again, only a quarter of the way this time. Flashlights cut through the dark, beams sweeping past broken doors and shattered windows. The cats were still there, strolling lazily, as if they'd been waiting. Then it happened. The air itself hissed, a long, deliberate shh. Not quite human, not quite wind, but insistent, as if the place had grown tired of their footsteps. Everyone froze, and then the sound of falling objects again, this time louder, metal clanging, wood shifting, the kind of noise that tells you something is moving where nothing should. Fear broke the moment. They ran back toward the gate, not all the way down the hill, just outside the entrance, heartbeats in their throats, breaths sharp and shallow. They argued. Should they go back? Curiosity said yes. Caution said no. And still, they stepped forward again. The final entry. One friend, pale and trembling, said, "I don't feel good. I'll wait outside," but he followed anyway. Sometimes it's easier to ignore your gut than to break from the group. The one who took the others home stayed by the gate with him. 2 others pressed toward the buildings. For several minutes, nothing happened. The skeptic wandered into the ruins, flashlight darting between empty rooms. The cousin stood outside, casting light into the dark corners. Then, everything shifted. The cats bolted, every one of them sprinting at once toward the exit, claws scraping against stone. Animals don't flee in unison unless something tells them to. And at that same instant, the rumble began. Low, heavy, rolling like an earthquake, except the ground stayed still. The sound came from inside the buildings, resonating through the walls, pressing against the chest like invisible weight. Instinct screamed. They ran out the gate, stumbling, breath ragged. "What the heck was that?" one of them gasped. They tried to piece it together until the rumble returned, louder this time, rising, growing, as though something unseen was moving closer, drawn toward them. That was it. They didn't wait to see what came next. They left the hill for good. Later, they studied a photo, just the gate captured in haste, the weak beam of a phone flashlight barely holding the dark at bay, ordinary on its own, terrifying with memory attached. They argued about what they'd heard, wind, settling beams, a trick of tired minds, or something else, something tied to the history of the place, something that had once whispered in those same walls and hadn't yet stopped. No clear answer came, only silence. So, what do we make of it? Maybe it was simple, old wood, hollow halls, rusted metal shifting after decades, cats moving where cats always move, fear sharpening perception, stretching every sound into something monstrous. But maybe it wasn't simple. Maybe some places absorb what happened inside them, the pain, the sorrow, the endings that came too soon. Maybe at certain hours, those echoes wake up, the rumble of a building that doesn't shake, the simultaneous flight of animals, the hush that comes from nowhere but still tells you to be quiet. There's a lesson in boundaries. They went in 4 times, each step deeper, each return more dangerous. Not every mystery needs to be solved at midnight. Sometimes, wisdom is knowing when curiosity becomes invitation. There's another lesson in listening. The friend who said he didn't feel good, he was right. Our bodies know things, our minds resist. Ignoring that warning can cost more than an evening's sleep. And there's a final lesson in meaning. 6 friends, 1 night, 1 story they will tell for the rest of their lives. To the skeptic, it was nothing. To the believer, everything. Truth is a flashlight beam. It reveals only where you point it. Places hold stories, and sometimes stories hold on to us. If tonight's shadow stayed with you, like this video, subscribe and share your thoughts below. Was it the weight of old beams, or something that watched them from the dark? I'm Sylvia, and I'll meet you again at the edge of the light.